Melissa behind. Yes, there she goes. She got the recording going. So, hello and welcome in. We're so glad you're here today with us for our 2023 CSLP Summer Symposium. I'm Dawn Krause. I am the Executive Director of CSLP, and this is my first Summer Symposium, and I am so incredibly thrilled to be here with you as your Executive Director. It has been a great 6+ months on the job with CSLP, so I'm so glad to get this event under my belt as well. So I have a couple of introductory slides just to get you settled in for today, I think. There we go. Just a couple housekeeping issues. We do have live captioning going on with AI Media. And so if you'll go to your toolbar at the bottom, you should see a closed caption symbol similar to what's here on your screen. You should be able to click that and get the captioning going for you. Please put any questions for our presenters in the Q&A box so we don't miss them. There's a lot of people in the room today. Everyone is muted and video is off, and the chat is probably going to be pretty full of commentary. So if you can do the Q&A box, that would be really great. That's another thing that's on your Zoom toolbar. All of our sessions are being recorded today. They will be uploaded as separate events, separate videos onto our Summer Symposium page, which we will post periodically, the link to throughout today in the chat so that you can get access to those. In addition to that, we'll have some resources on that page. Some of our presenters do have handouts there, and then we also have a continuing education certificate that'll be available for you to download and add to your name to and use as you need to. Our schedule today, just a brief overview. Obviously, we have our keynote. We're going to have 3 great sessions for you. 2 of them are panels. And then we have some breaks scheduled, and they're longer breaks on 2 ends of the event today so that we can get across time zones and get you to lunch. But feel free to come in and out of the sessions just using your registration link. You can pop out and you can pop back in using that. I know some of you are on your desks and trying to keep an eye on that and the customers while you're doing the event with us today. So that's great of you to try to fit us in with your schedule. So I am also here today. One of our hosts is our incoming president, our 2024 president, Donna Throckmorton. She is the library services consultant at the Arizona State Library. Hi, Donna. She is the one who has coordinated this event, and so we really thank her for all that she's done for us, but for also wrangling us today and our committee as well. And I'll get to them in a second. We have a small but mighty staff here at CSLP, and I always want to acknowledge those folks. Today, we have Melissa Hook, who's behind the scenes doing all of our tech for us with Zoom. And we also have Alyssa. I don't know if Alyssa is here yet, but she is on for later today. She is our wonderful managing editor of our program manual, and she will be on with the folks that have put together the 2024 manual, and they're going to give you some great bits of that today later on. So just thank you to the staff behind the scenes here, just so you know who is back here helping run the ship, in addition to all of our volunteers. Much appreciation to our symposium planning committee. We had a really dynamic committee, great ideas. It was hard to actually thin down our program. We had a lot of really great things and suggestions this year. So hopefully we picked the best of the best. So a little bit about CSLP for those of you who may not be that familiar with us. We are the Collaborative Summer Library Program, a nonprofit formed way back in 1987 by a group of library staff just like yourselves that wanted to share resources around summer reading programming. We really are much the same today. We just have 45 states and island nations that are involved in doing the work and making the decisions around summer reading, and we eat, sleep, and drink summer reading here all year round. And I know we're talking about summer and it is December, but we don't care. We love summer reading. We'll talk about it anytime. And so we're so glad that we're fueled and shaped by our volunteers. We could not do the work we do, the amount of work we do, without really dedicated volunteer base. Here is our mission and vision. We empower libraries to foster community. We're obviously still a very collaborative nonprofit. We provide reproducible programs with a unified theme. The theme is chosen by our members. Our themes and slogans are always selected by you, the members. We share resources and offer each other a lot of professional support, which is great. And in the words of Beth Yates, who is one of our former presidents, she said, "We're a group of people trying to make summer programming easier for practitioners and more meaningful to communities." So that's really it in a nutshell, and why we're here. We are a nonprofit. We fund our organization with membership fees, our program manual sales, and our store merchandise sales. All of the money raised supports future programs, and we do have a lot of interesting things on the horizon that we would like to do to further support programming in public libraries. So stay tuned. We do have a store. Our shop.cslpreads.org site is where you shop for merchandise through CSLP. This is a completely open website for you all to purchase from. You do not need an account. The only caveat is that if you are in a non-member state, we do charge an annual fee of $20 to be a member of CSLP, and that gets added on to your first order, and it is just a once-a-year charge. So know that that is something that would be added on if you were in one of our non-member states. So we have 2.5 staff, as you saw at the beginning. Not a lot of people behind the scenes here, but small but mighty. We have a 10 to 13 person volunteer board, super dedicated people. We have 13 volunteer committee chairs, and another group of really dynamic people who give a lot of their time on key things that we need to, key milestones we need to reach throughout the year. We have 150 volunteer committee members, and of course we have all of you. And then we work with a lot of contractors, illustrators, our fulfillment warehouse, IT, web hosting, product vendors, graphic designers, all of those folks that we need in order to produce a really high quality summer reading program for you. So this is 2% are paid staff and the rest are volunteers. So when I say it's volunteer powered, I really mean it. CSLP, a little bit about CSLP by the numbers in terms of our data. States join at a rate of $65 a year plus $2 per library outlet. This rate has been in place for decades. It has not gone up. States get discounted rates on programming manuals. Each state has a representative that is on our various listservs and keeps you all informed out there in the states, in your libraries. Really a bunch of very dedicated volunteers as well. Individual libraries and non-member states can join at $20, like I said, and that fee goes right back into our programs for you all. How do I get involved? We want you. We need your brains, we need your time, we need your empathy, we need your creativity, all of that. But foremost, we really need folks that are passionate about summer reading and summer programming. We really run on your energy. And so if you want to get involved, we have a lot of committees to choose from. We do our committee recruitment in fall usually, but if you do have an interest, you can contact any of us at any time and we can see where we might be able to fit you in. And also, if you want to keep up on when we do recruit for committee members, our newsletter is a great way to do that. And we can put the link in the chat at a later point. Our programming manual really is the bread and butter of what we do here at CSLP. This year, it's 261 pages with 12 chapters. It's 80 pages of standalone printables, super high quality, things that you can just take and print and use in your library with your patrons very easily. High quality artwork by professional illustrators and graphic designers, We have slogans in various colors, black and white clip art, individual images that are extracted from our poster work, images designed for marketing to each age group, social media banners, PowerPoint files, and more in there. It's $15.95 for online access and free to libraries in member states. So ask your state rep if you don't yet have access to this resource. And of course, we also run on your ideas. So if you can't give us your volunteer power, no problem. You have other ways to participate in CSLP. Submit an idea or a resource via our website. And then we do have a great planning Facebook group, super active, tons of great ideas and images of what they're doing in their libraries, which is very, very helpful. And then the program cannot happen without you. So we need your input. Even if you're just giving input to your state rep about themes and slogans and things you want to see in the future, that information does trickle up to us here at CSLP. So please keep giving that feedback to us so that we can constantly improve for you. On the horizon, we're thinking about some customizable products that you can add your particular branding to, downloadable templates, grant programs, donor support. We do not currently take donations, and we would like to in the future to support grant programs and other ways that we can help public libraries deliver summer reading. More professional development like this, more partnerships with great organizations that can add to our programming and enhance what we do in summer reading. Improved product quality. We try to always be looking at the next products available. A continued focus on inclusion within all aspects of CSLP, and a new programming manual format in the works, and possibly a database of our past programs as well as our past artwork. So a lot of really great things on the horizon for CSLP. And without further ado, I am going to hand it over to Donna to welcome our keynote speaker, Jen.
Good morning, everybody. I'm so glad you're here, and I'm really excited about joining CSLP as the president next year. We are going to introduce our keynote speaker this morning, and as she shares her opening slide, I get to introduce her, and I'm very excited to have her come to you and share her enthusiasm for summer reading. Our keynote speaker, Jen Strauss, uses her passion for story to help educators, organizations, and individuals connect with others, communicate ideas, and achieve goals. Following 10 years as a public school educator, Jenifer combined her love of teaching and storytelling, and in 1993 founded her business, Story Be Told. Now traveling nationally, Jen offers interactive story performances, dynamic conference keynotes, workshops, trainings, and coaching, along with writing workshops and long-term involvement as an artist in residence. Please welcome Jen as she presents Simplifying Summer, Adventurous Observations from a Seasoned Storyteller.
Thank you, Donna, and welcome everyone to be with all of you this morning. I want to thank Donna and the committee for inviting me to share some ideas with you today. So welcome everyone. It was so much fun to watch the chat, see where everybody is coming in from. I want to you this morning from Northern Michigan. And in Michigan, we have a habit of holding up our hand as a map where we've been and where we live, not only the Lower Peninsula, but also the Upper Peninsula. I want to tell you that I'm coming to you this morning from a place called Traverse City, Michigan, way up north in the Mittens, far from Lake Michigan. So it was great to see where everyone was coming in from. Welcome. The 5th year as a storyteller, a speaker, and a narrative consultant. And I have had the great honor and pleasure for many libraries across this country and have presented both live and virtually in trainings and webinars for years. And libraries and librarians have become my favorite audience. So for those of you who have been with me for storytelling programs and storytime trainings over the years, You'll know that I love to start with a welcome song. In honor of the 2024 summer reading theme of adventure, we're going to start with a song today about adventure that I learned at summer camp many, many years ago when I was just a kid. So the words are up on your screen. And in pure style of teaching audiences about songs, I'm going to do a few lines and then I'm going to ask you to join me. And even though I'm not going to be able to hear you singing with me, I'm going to assume that you're out there singing along. All right. So we need a hiking sound. So we're going to keep a beat on our laps for this welcome song. And you can do that with me if you want, or let me keep the beat. I'm going to do a few lines and then ask you to join me. On the road to anywhere, with never a heartache, with never a care. Let's try that. On the road to anywhere, with never a heartache, with never a care. Second part, we have no home, we have no camp. We're grateful for anything the new day brings. Let's try it. We have no home, we have no camp. We're grateful for anything the new day brings. Third part, on the road to anywhere. Each milestone seems to say, almost there. Ready? On the road to anywhere. Each milestone seems to say, almost there. Last part, the road to anywhere. The road to anywhere will lead to summer reading one day. Ready? The road to anywhere, the road to anywhere will lead to summer reading one day. All right, good job if you were out there patting your legs and singing along with me. Now you have a song ready-made for summer reading this summer that you can begin every program with and end every program with if you liked it. So I want to start today by giving attention to something really important to me as I've traveled across this country and worked with many librarians. The realization that we are living in sensitive and tumultuous times. The last 4 years have not been an easy time to be a librarian or serve the public because of COVID-19, the issue of book banning, political struggles, and of course, social issues. As librarians and public servants, you have had to be many things to many people in your community, while offering a multitude of resources to satisfy of needs, from your youngest Storytime patrons, their families and caregivers, to your oldest and often technologically challenged patrons, and every between, sometimes including latchkey kids and people experiencing homelessness. Social and political peace so that you don't ruffle anyone's feathers. So I want to begin today by taking a moment to recognize the important work that each of you do in your libraries and the valuable services that you provide while trying to keep all patrons happy and satisfied. And no, this is not an easy task, especially in this day and age. Sometimes it's easy to lose sight of the impact that you have on those that you serve. So I want you to remember that people, especially children, just need one caring adult to take a special interest in them to change their life. You are the ones who open the doors to knowledge and information every day that empowers the patrons that you serve. And so before we dive into the 2024 summer reading theme, I want to share a few stories about inspiration. And while I'm doing this, and while I'm telling those stories, I want you to think of the people who inspired you to do the work that you do in libraries. And I also want you to think about anyone that you know you have helped and inspired along the way by doing the work that you do. So let me take you back to about 1963 in Detroit, Michigan, the Sherwood Forest Library, my first library. I was 5 years old. My older sister, Leslie, was 10. Now, Leslie was afraid of everything, but she also knew that reading was important and that the library was a magical place. And so one day, we went to the edge of our street, and on the busier road of Griggs, we got on a city bus. And in a very short time, that bus let us off at the Sherwood Forest Library. We walked into the doors together and met the librarian. My sister told her that it was my first time at the library, and she took me by the hand into the children's section and sat me down in front of the picture books and told me that I could have any of them that I wanted to take home. I couldn't believe it. And I sat on the floor right there in that window. You can see the front window, the sun spilling in that window, grabbing books off the shelves. And by the time that I was through choosing, I had an armload of books that we had checked out with that same librarian who said I could come back the next week and do exactly the same thing. We got on that city bus and we rode home, walked home with that big pile of books in my arms. And when we got home, we sat on Leslie's bed and she read every single one of those books to me over and over again that week until we went back to the library to get more. That was my first library experience. Now, about the time that I was entering 4th grade, I had just come out of a terrible year in 3rd grade. I had a teacher whose name was Mrs. Benson. At least that's what we called her when she wasn't looking. She was a strict teacher and I was a really energetic kid and she had to get used to me. I was doing really well in school. I loved everything about it, except my 3rd grade brain had not connected with the writing process yet. And when I got my papers back from Mrs. Benson, well, with that red grease pencil that she graded them with, it looked like she had killed my papers. And that didn't improve my grades, nor did it improve my self-esteem. The summer, my mother knew that I was struggling. And one day I went into the kitchen where she was making lunch for my sister. Made the mistake of telling her that I was bored. Usually when we told her that I was bored, give me the toilet brush or the vacuum cleaner. But that day she went into the closet next to her bedroom and got out there. She handed it to me. I said, "What do you want me to do with that?" And here's what she said. She said, "Honey, I want you to stay this summer and have an adventure. I want you to try something new, something you have never done before. When you do that, I want you to bring an object home that reminds you of what you did that day and put it in the box. Every night, you can show me that object before you go to bed, and I will try and guess what you were doing." Is she a genius? So I went off every day that summer, and I had adventures in the neighborhood, in the sand lot, on my bike, in the woods. And every night I came home with a different object, and I showed that object to my mother, and she couldn't guess. She would try to guess, but ultimately she would end up saying, "I don't know, honey." Story. Well, that went on all summer. And about midway through the summer, she gave me a journal. Stories down because they were good ones. And I wasn't thinking about Mrs. Benson or the red grease pencil that she graded papers with. I was having adventures. And I was coming home every night and telling my mother about those. And by the end of that summer, when I entered 4th grade, I had 30 objects in that box, stories in a journal that I showed my new teacher, Mrs. Stebbins. She loved the stories and the idea of the box and made every 4th grader box so that we could save items, reminded us of a story that we had lived. That was an inspiring time in my life. Summer going into 5th grade. I was up at Parks and Rec at our elementary go in the summer, and you could play games and make craft projects. And I got tired of playing knock hockey friends. And so I started to wander around the building. And when I got to the other side of the building, I saw the library was open, and inside was Mrs. Wells, our school librarian. I walked in the door. "Mrs. Wells, it's summer. Why are you in the library?" And she said, "Haven't you heard of summer reading?" I hadn't. She called me over to her desk and she got out a 5x7 card and put my name on it. It had lines I was going to read that summer and a place for a stamper. When I came back to the library after reading those books, I don't know where to begin. Dear Mrs. Wells took me by the hand over to a section where all the Laura E. Wilder books were, and she said, "Why don't you start here?" I spent that summer going into 5th grade on the prairie. The next year I knew about summer reading, so I went back to visit with Mrs. Wells in the summer going into 6th grade. Well, I spent that summer in Narnia. Mrs. Wells introduced me to summer reading, and I never stopped reading in the summer from that point on. And the last story I want to tell you is about all of you. You see, in the last 30 years, I've been presenting for libraries, and I believe that you all have superpowers. You are the most incredible people that I have ever worked with. Your superpower is being right-brained and left-brained at the same time. You are the most creative and organized group of people that I have ever worked with. Your integrity has inspired the work that I've been doing for all of these years. So here's your first opportunity to go into the chat box, and you're going to get a copy of this chat later on. But here's what I want you to do. Chat number 1, who in your background inspired you to do the work that you do as a librarian? And I want you to chat that person. Number 2, I want you to chat somebody that you know you have inspired over the years by doing the work as a librarian. So go ahead and chat those. And Donna, after we let people have a little bit of time chatting, I would like you to read 1 or 2 of those, but you'll have this chat later after this symposium that you'll be able to read over those as well. Okay.
Okay, I will take a look at those. But Jen, just so you know, the internet, it's cutting out just a little bit in and out for you. So if it gets too bad, we may ask you just to turn off your video. So
okay,
hopefully,
I don't know why, Donna, because I'm hardwired in this morning, so I'm not sure why.
It could be just because we're such a big group. So hopefully, all right. Do you want me to read some of the answers for you?
Yeah, and I think I'm going to turn my video off right now just to
Okay. And so this is who has inspired you. I see school teachers, Mrs. Glover and Mrs. Miller, and they inspired her to read, her love of reading, and eventual move to librarianship. A therapy dog, Shante and Tamara. Those were some inspirations. My boss and my mom, specific names of people that were very inspirational to them. And I'm assuming these are who has inspired you. And then, oh my goodness, there's over 117 answers so far. Lots of teachers, my childhood librarian. So other people have inspired others by helping them get a job in Alaska.
Nice.
And who else have you inspired? So let's start looking for those answers. Who have you inspired? They've inspired their aunt, their children, a tutoring, someone was very inspirational for that person. Coworkers, we can be inspiring to those we work with. Someone was inspired by their grandmother, who was a voracious reader.
Awesome.
And lots of children they've inspired. Oh, this person's inspired by her young readers. That's really fun to read. And this person inspired a 15-year-old library volunteer who wants to be a librarian now.
Great. All right. Thank you so much. Those are wonderful. And I hope when you get the chat that you'll read over some of those. It helps us know how others have been inspired to remember the important work that we do. So thank you. And thank you, Donna, for reading those. All right. And I hope I don't cut out again. I turned off my video. This summer is going to be my 31st year that I have taken the summer reading theme and created interactive library programs for all ages. And I do that by embracing storytelling, singing, artistic expression, reading, and writing. And in this slide, you can see some of the slides from summer reading programs that I have been involved with over the years. I have averaged 40 library performances a summer in both urban and rural and everything in between. So in those over 1,000 programs, I have witnessed several different approaches to summer reading, depending on the size of the library, the community, the resources available, and the number of staff and volunteers who help to execute the summer reading program. I'm always amazed at the amount of energy and planning and creativity that goes into creating a summer reading program to motivate not only kids, but all of our patrons to continue to read all summer long. But I also recognize that executing a summer reading program is an adventure in itself, and it's also a very exhausting one. So today is about building excitement, inspiration, and ideas for the 2024 summer reading theme, Adventure Begins at Your Library. We are going to consider ways to enlist community partners while streamlining and simplifying the program process so that you're not begging for summer to be over before your summer reading program ends. So in order to embrace this idea of adventure for this coming summer, I would like to begin with some definitions. First, the definition of adventure itself: an unusual, remarkable, and exciting experience. Adventure is a daring and exciting activity calling for enterprise and enthusiasm. Enterprise being the readiness to act boldly and get something started. Next definition is adventurous. Adventurous, the willingness to try something new and push beyond your comfort zone to grow and learn. Willing to go where you haven't been before and do things you've never done, even if you don't know how it's going to turn out. Being adventurous means embracing the unfamiliar and the unknown for the sake of learning something new or accomplishing a goal. When I first read and wrote out these two definitions, what came to mind for me is not only is adventure our summer theme, but it's also a librarian's job description, don't you think? It just sounded like what you do every day, but especially in the summer, because libraries make things happen. So I just wanted to read those. The place where I first learned about adventure, beyond my mother and the story that I just told you, the place where I first learned about adventure was at summer camp. So the summer going into 7th grade, I had heard about a camp in Northern Ontario called Agri Outpost Camp. I came home with a map and told my parents that I wanted to go to the North Shore of Lake Superior, outside of a town called Wawa, Ontario, where I wanted to attend an outpost camp where we would be hiking and canoeing and climbing. My parents thought I was crazy, but my mother knew the importance of adventure, and so she found a way to allow me to go. That camp and those adventures absolutely changed my life. Not just learning how to take a risk and do something I had never done before, but also the process of learning how to work with others. Now, this was a place where we slept in cabins, but there was no running water. We had a big water tower, and we pumped water up from the lake, and that's where we brushed our teeth at troughs in the morning. We had a great big kitchen, and we cooked meals for each other. And the only way we could get clean was by either diving into the cold lake or taking a sauna and then diving into the lake. But this place changed my life because it taught me through adventures how to trust myself, how to know that I was strong, how to work with others, how to cook meals for big groups, and how to become a human being that had integrity, knew how to work hard, knew what it meant to do something without always knowing what the outcome was. So this was an important place for me to learn about adventures, but I want you to now chat in the chat box a time. And it doesn't have to be a canoe trip or a climbing a mountain, but a time where you had an adventure experience that taught you something about yourself. So go ahead and chat those in the chat box. And Donna, again, we'll read a few of those out loud, maybe 3 or 4 of those, okay? So an adventure, and it doesn't have to be in the out of doors. We can have adventures anywhere, but it has to be something you're trying for the first time, something brand new, something that taught you something very important about yourself. So go ahead and chat those.
Girl Scouts seems to be a popular adventure
Absolutely.
experience. Someone else said that this is a great passive activity to make a bulletin board using this question.
Absolutely.
All the different vacations they've gone on, adventuring in a foreign land can be quite the adventure sometimes. Moving to a new place is
Absolutely.
another thing that is really popular.
Let's do one more.
Let's see. Flying. I got to see which one the flying went, but it just flying for the first time to visit my brother and his family.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much. I'm sure there's some other great ones. I can't wait to read the chat when this is over as well. So here's the thing. We've all had adventures that are either big or small, but they have changed us, right? And you don't have to go to summer camp to get those. I'd like to suggest that these are the 3 things that I've learned from those adventures that apply directly to summer reading and our adventure theme this year. Number 1, trying new things helps you grow and become more confident, even if you are nervous or scared. Caring mentors, that's us, provide knowledge, resources, positive support, and motivation that allows people to try something new. Creating an inclusive, inviting space where everyone belongs helps build a greater level of comfort and community. That's what I learned at summer camp. My suggestion is that summer reading is just like summer camp, but the kids don't have to stay overnight. Yay, right? So I want to remind us all that libraries have always been lifelong learning hubs for whole learners. Libraries are places where people of all ages can read about and explore ideas, experience new things, learn and grow. So what better place to launch a summer full of adventures than at our libraries? So it turns out that psychologists have a lot to say about the value of adventures. Apparently, adventure is good for us no matter what our age is. So I want to talk about a few things that I learned from 2 articles that I read about the psychological advantages of having adventures. The first one was in a 2023 blog post from Sorry Mom Adventures called Quick Look, The Psychology of Adventure Seekers. And the author indicates these things. The need for adventure is embedded in our human DNA. Our ancestors relied on a daring spirit to adapt to change. Adventure seekers are curious, have a sense of excitement, and are quick to adapt to new situations. People who engage in adventurous activities experience a release of the neurotransmitter dopamine, a happy transmitter, associated with pleasure, reward, and satisfaction. Adventure-seeking people develop resilience and experience an increase in personal growth and self-discovery. They report a higher level of self-esteem, satisfaction with life. Check it out, a decrease in stress and anxiety. Challenging activities require quick thinking, problem solving, and adaptability. Trying something new and overcoming obstacles fosters a deeper sense of capabilities and strengths, as well as an increase in confidence and an expanded comfort zone. Wonderful benefits, right? So from another article from Shape Magazine, believe it or not, entitled The Health Benefits of Being Adventurous, author Marnie Soman-Schwartz cites research from Frank Farley, PhD, professor at Temple University and former president of the American Psychological Association. Here's what Frank has to say. Whether it's physical, mental, artistic, instrumental, culinary, literary, or virtual, adventures make us feel good. Engaging and focusing during a new activity ignites creativity, curiosity, and creates a sense of well-being known as flow, which causes a spike in dopamine, there it is again, and the feeling of well-being that lasts long after the activity is over. And then finally, For our older patrons especially, adventurous experiences improve brain health and increase learning and adaptability, and therefore neuroplasticity. So I want us to all consider this research when we think about the 21st century skills that we as educators are sort of tasked with for educating the youth for the future. And I want you to just think about how the adventures that we're going to offer this summer will meet some of those 21st century skills of creative thinking, creativity, collaboration, communication, information literacy, media literacy, technological literacy, flexibility, leadership, initiative, productivity, and social skills. So just by having adventures this summer, we will be able to work with our patrons on those 21st century skills. So how do we do this, right? And I know that it's a huge task to plan for a summer reading program. It takes an incredible amount of time. There are so many details to consider when you start planning your program, like budgets and staffing, decorating and programming for multiple ages, doing enough marketing to ensure numbers and attendance so you can justify the money you're spending on programs and supplies, tracking reading and participation, securing prizes, not just to mention executing all of this. And I need to tell you the truth, in the last few years, as I travel and I perform in libraries, I've noticed a level of exhaustion in many of my long-term library friends. They used to get excited about summer reading, but because of the trying events of the last 4 years, many librarians are experiencing a certain level of burnout. And what I noticed last year as I travel from library to library, we are still building that audience back. Even though it's been a little while since the pandemic, people have changed their behaviors or they're still living with some fears. And so we're still building those audiences back. Last summer were the smallest audiences that I've had in 30 years. And all the librarians that I talked to said they've been working on it, they've been marketing, but it's really hard to get people back to the library. And maybe you've experienced some of that as well. I would like to offer some suggestions today for simplifying and streamlining the summer reading process so that you're working in the parameters of your library for your level of resources, your community, to ensure that you're not hoping that summer reading is over before your program actually ends. So let's take a look at a few of these tips. The first thing I want you to think about, of course, is your library logistics, your community. So I want you to be realistic. And I know librarians get excited and want to offer everything during the summer, but we have to be realistic, right? Consider the size of your library. Consider your program spaces, both indoors and outdoors. How many staff members do you have that will be committed to planning your summer reading program and executing it? Consider your budget and your resources and make sure that you are not taking on too much. And I mean that. Simple is good for you and your patrons. Life has become very, very busy for all of us. It's easy to want to do it all, but with creativity and community partners, you can build strong programming without burning yourself out. So consider not just live programs, but passive programs, online, and take-home programs. I've heard many in webinars that I've given over the years say, wait a minute, I'm the only staff member doing everything. And it's usually in those smaller and rural libraries that I hear that. So you do not have to offer 6 programs for every age group if you're a very small library and you have a small staff and limited resources. You might want to think about instead offering more multi-generational programs so that all family members can participate together, even the grandparents. Also think about if your staff is small, do you have volunteers already engaged at your library? And if you don't, who else could you enlist to help you? Your teens and tweens, either in advisory councils or those that are just hanging out at your library, are wonderful helpers. In my community here in Traverse City, we have a great number of retirees who are just looking for ways to give back to the community, and many of them are volunteering at our libraries. Look at your high school and community college students. Can they help you during programs? Can they help you create decorations? Can they be the ones that print your tracking journals or go out and solicit prizes for you? And then finally, on this specific slide, I want to emphasize the last point, and that is 6 weeks of summer reading is plenty. So limit the number of weeks. We usually begin our summer reading programs 1 to 2 weeks after school lets out. So how many weeks do you want to run your program? 6 is usually enough. And if you're wrapping up by the first week of August, most families will appreciate that, because they're going to spend August either looking towards school and getting ready for that, with school starting earlier and earlier across the country, or they're going to want to get those last summer things in before school begins. So this theme is probably one of my favorite themes for years. One, because I'm an adventurous person, and I just love the idea of adventure as it helps us grow and learn, but also this one's limitless. Last year, I heard a lot of complaints about the all together now theme because it was just a little too much out there and people weren't quite sure what to do with it for programming. But this one lends itself to just about any adventure that you could have, right? But you don't have to do it all. So I want you to choose programs and ideas that best fit your community and your patrons. So I would suggest that right now, even though we're heading into the winter time in most parts of this country, not all, but the winter season, and summer reading is kind of far out there, survey your patrons. Ask them what types of adventures they would be interested in having this summer. You can ask them about and give them a list and see if they check it off, and then also give them a space to write in adventures that they might be interested in having. Do they want adventures in books, stories, and writing? Do they want adventures in video games, board games, and outside games? Do they want to have some adventures in travel locally or travel in a series of travel talks? Do they want outdoor adventures, hiking, arts and crafts, adventures in cooking, science, movies, scavenger hunts, adventures in exercise like yoga and Tai Chi? So survey them and find out what it is they really want, and that can inform how you plan your program this summer. Simplify your focus. So this is a wonderful theme. Adventure begins at our library, but who are we going to be? Are we all going to be adventure seekers across all the ages of your programming? Do you want to get a little bit more specific with that and call everybody explorers and focus your programs on exploring your specific community? Do you all want to be superheroes this summer and have adventures learning superpowers or new skills? Maybe your focus is going to be time travelers and you're going to focus on the history of your community and learn more about that. Or you might turn your whole summer reading program into adventures that are mysteries to be solved, and therefore your focus would be becoming detectives. My next tip for you is to venture out into your community. So every single one of our communities have unique things to offer, and every community has something different, big or small, and venturing into that community and engaging with those community partners is a great way to engage with this adventure theme. In my community here in Traverse City, because we are a vacation destination, we are rich in a lot of different ways to have adventures here. But I want you to ask yourself what's in your community. Are there parks or zoos? Do you have water parks, trails? Are there community gardens, nature centers, skate parks, bike clubs, museums, businesses and municipalities that might be able to partner with you? Performance sites, art galleries, outdoor adventures, climbing walls, hiking and biking clubs, and anything else in your community that you can collaborate with. Also, I want you to be thinking about ideas for resource people in your community who have a specialty, and maybe that you can enlist them to teach a class, give a talk, or lead an activity. But in return, you will also be showcasing these community businesses and these people in your community who have something to offer. Also, and I hear this very often too, is that no, I don't want to hold programs outside of the library. We're trying to get people into the library. But I'm here to tell you that I've been part of many successful programs that have taken place outside of the library, but then have led patrons back to the library. Kathy Lancaster, you'll remember this picture on the left side of the screen. When Kathy was our youth librarian here in Traverse City, we held a program at our movie theater on a Saturday morning because we knew that all the kids would be there to see cartoons that only cost a quarter, right? So Kathy held a pre-program before the Curious George movie that day. She had me tell a few stories. She did trivia questions, threw prizes out into the audience. And we also had a few librarians out in the lobby of the movie theater who had books that you could check out right away, back to the library, right? And then also sign them up for library cards. I've done programs for summer reading in parks where people are camping all summer. And those programs invited all the summer reading patrons, but also invited all the families who were in that campsite. The bottom picture shows me doing a science program when our theme was space at our community botanical gardens because they wanted to bring more families to their site. So we did summer reading programs there all summer long. Finally, the other picture is an art park in Traverse City. And I did an adult program by telling stories for all the art features and leading people through the trails there as part of a library program. Other places where I've performed creatively, a Burger King on a Saturday morning in the playroom. Only we didn't let them play on the equipment. We served them breakfast and I did a storytelling program for summer reading. Farmers markets where everybody's shopping. And there was a children's area at this farmers market in northern Michigan in Ironwood. And I did a program at the farmers market about vegetables and gardening. One time last summer, I was at a library and it was raining. This was in the Upper Peninsula as well. And I said, where are all the kids? And the librarian said, well, they're all over at Parks and Rec, but it's raining, so they don't want to walk to the library. I said, let's go over there. And we took all the patrons that had gathered in the library, went over to Parks and Rec, had an audience of 120, and did my summer reading program there. Finally, a suggestion to hold programs at senior centers. And bring your younger patrons to those senior centers, hold a program where those elders and the younger ones can share together. And that's a beautiful way to do a program off-site. Because we're promoting adventure this summer, I want you to think of these 3 goals and see if you can include them in each one of your programs across the ages this summer. That your patrons read something, to learn how to do something new, to then do it so that they can come back to your library and somehow share what they have learned with others. So that might be coming back and adding to a bulletin board or coming back and actually sharing with another group what they learned, or just giving you feedback in their logbook about what they learned in that program. So I learned an interesting idea about a year ago when I was presenting in Montana. And the presenter that morning talked about having a community book walk and scavenger hunt. And in her community, they engaged a number of the community businesses to put a page of the book walk up in the window of their business. They gave patrons maps and clues to go to each one of those businesses, read the page from the book walk, and then also receive something from that business that they would gather or collect. Sometimes it was puzzle pieces or another clue. And then at the end of that, the last page of that book walk and the last business that they visited, they came back to the library and had to do something with it. So this is a really wonderful way to do some programming that might be ongoing. Maybe it'll last a couple of weeks during the summer that families can engage in, and maybe come back and submit an answer, or bring a puzzle piece back and build a puzzle, or have a solution at the end that brings them back to your library. So another suggestion that I'd like to give to you all, and I think this is well received by hardworking librarians, is that you don't have to reinvent the wheel every summer. And in the next session after mine, you're going to go through the program manual. I went through every page of this manual because I'm getting ready to do summer reading workshops this spring. And it's the most incredible resource that I have ever encountered. And it functions on many levels, age level and multi-generational, and every different kind of program that you can present, whether they're passive or online. It's just an incredible resource. So please use that manual so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to use every single idea. Because of every library being different and having different circumstances, you can pick and choose the program manual ideas that work best for you. Point number 2, recycle and adapt and reuse program ideas. All the programs that you have been offering over the summers are adventures. So with a little tweaking and a little adapting, you can reuse ideas that you've used in past years. So you don't have to come with all new ideas this time. And finally, collaborate with all the other librarians that you can, especially like on days like today or other conferences, or just getting in touch with local librarians around you and say, what are you doing? And share ideas so that you can grow your ideas together. So I'm going to skip this chat, Donna, because I'm looking at the clock. So I'm going to skip this one, but I'm going to say, I want you all to be thinking about adventures that you can have in your own unique communities. And you might want to just jot a few ideas that you may have had while you're listening to this keynote, and just jot those ideas down if they're new ones that have come to mind while I've been talking about ideas.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that. Just a reminder that we have until 12:15 for this session.
Oh, okay,
And
good.
yeah, and then so at the last 10 minutes, we will have questions for Jenifer. So if you have any questions you would like to ask her, go ahead and use the Q&A and we'll hold those till the end.
All right, so I am going to have you chat into the chat box so everybody can benefit from these, okay? 2 or 3 adventure ideas using a community partner in your unique community. Somebody who you could collaborate with this summer, who you know would help you create a great adventure and you wouldn't have to do all the work. So go ahead and chat those. Donna, thank you for the time reminder. I was looking at the top of the hour. And when we get a few of those, please read those out. And Donna, is my connection better now that I turn the video off?
It is much better.
Thank you. Good.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. All right.
No
so
problem.
Let's look at some of those ideas that are coming through in the chat box about community partners who can help you have adventures with your patrons this summer.
Even before you asked the question, someone had shared that they do the community scavenger hunt with their Chamber of Commerce, like a community partner that helps them do that. Now let's see if I can catch some of these that are flying past. Connecting with a nursing home. Oh, the Historical Society was what they had partnered with. NASA Solar Systems Ambassadors are great partners. Let's see.
I really want you to be thinking in your own community and locally so that you can reach out, connect to a partner, and then you can also then feature their business. So it's sort of a give, win-win situation. So think about
the recreation department, or this community has an Eagle Railroad Adventure train rides. Local scavenger hunt, fire department, Department of Wildlife, community garden.
Yep. Think about trails and natural areas, nature centers, conservation districts, those kind of things that could offer help this summer too.
Yes, lots of great ideas in here. The cooperative extension service in your community.
Perfect. Yep. 4-H. Awesome.
And I believe we'll be hearing more about Forest Service partnerships
later today.
Oh, a skating rink and the YMCA.
Oh, perfect. Awesome. Yeah, the YMCA is a great place to connect.
And the family resource networks, which are nice. And some states have the family resource centers that are often located in the school. Yep, community family resource centers are great.
Okay, let's do one more, and then I'm gonna continue on.
Okay, a Wolf Mountain Conservation Center or the local zoo.
Awesome, perfect. All right, so I hope that when you go back and you read that chat again after this session, that it will give you more ideas. Every community is unique, And every community offers unique adventures, and partnering with those, and you're going to hear more about this later today in another session, partnering with those community organizations and businesses is just going to make your job easier when it comes to programming, and your programming is going to be diverse and interesting. And maybe when you look at that survey that you hand out to your patrons, you'll see some of those ideas come up on those surveys. Awesome. Thanks for sharing out on that. So this suggestion came from our youth librarian coordinator in Traverse City at the Traverse Area District Library, Andy Shuck. And he said, keep your tracking log simple. So I want to give some suggestions for how to do that. And it can be your adventure seekers log, or whatever you're going to focus on, the explorer's log, or the detective log, whatever your focus is going to be. But keep it simple and easy to use. Make it small enough to throw into a purse or attach to a lanyard, a key ring, or a carabiner. 3x5 or 4x6 on tag board works really well. In that log includes summer reading schedules for all ages. So only one log for all ages. So you don't have to recreate a different log for every single age group that you're serving. Include your summer reading schedules. Have several pages to record the books or minutes that they're reading all summer, but also have it be that there's a way for them to add more pages if they need. So that carabiner or that ring attachment would be a great way to do that. Several pages asking patrons, what program did you attend? Give the date and the time, and one thing that they learned in that program. You might have a special stamp or a sticker earned for attending programs that's placed or stamped on that page. And at the end of the summer, when these logs are turned in, you might give prizes for the most read or the most programs attended. This takes a lot of time to create logs like this, so I want you to think about who you can enlist to help you create that log. Here in Traverse City, we have a technological high school where they do printing, and oftentimes projects are taken to those students. They design them, they print them as credit for their schooling with very minimal costs to us. So think about who you can enlist to create those logs for you. Technical schools, community colleges, they might be able to design and print them for you. And that would take that off of your plate. Another suggestion is, can you offer, and this is different for every library in terms of your staff and your community, can you offer digital tracking options so that patrons can use their phones? Again, if you're short on staff or don't have the way or knowledge to do that, is there a digital native in your community who can help you? Digital natives are those people who are under the age of 30 who just sort of innately grew up knowing how to do that digital stuff. So see if there's somebody you can enlist to help you create the logs this summer that are going to be simple, easy to carry around, and then they'll turn those logs in at the end of the summer where you can track reading and track program attendance by those logs, as long as people turn them back into you. Finally, and in my last points to you, probably the biggest headache I hear from librarians, especially if you are the only one doing everything at your library, because marketing is incredibly important and incredibly hard to do because it's time consuming, right? I'm not criticizing when I say that I do a lot of the cross marketing when I'm performing at libraries because it helps them greatly. But I'll go to websites to see where they have my event listed. And because they're short on staff, or maybe don't have a web designer that is a staff member, that sometimes I have to click 4 times to get to the kids section, the summer reading program, the calendar, the date that I'm presenting on. And then when I open that up, oftentimes there's not enough information there for people to sign up, to register, or even know what the program's about. So you got to go beyond your website calendar. Here's a few ideas. And again, I'm recognizing that staffs are small, that resources are spread thin. So I have a few suggestions for how to combat that as well. So are there flyers and posters that you can put up all over the community? Are there newspapers that are just a community calendar? We have one up here called the Northern Express, and all the things that are going on in town are listed in that calendar. The only caution is that you have to get your calendar to them a month ahead of time. Local TV is a wonderful place to advertise if they'll have you on and interview you or let you give them videos about summer reading programs. Getting on the local radio station and pushing out that summer reading program, email blasts, and of course, social media, which can be a headache for a lot of people, but it's really the place where we can get a lot of hits to promote our summer reading programs. All the social media sites, having videos on those social media sites that are exciting and short and inviting. And again, I encourage you to find a digital native who can help you do all of that. Maybe you can secure a teenager, a community college person, a tech student who is really good at this, who would love to help you. Maybe so they can get credit. You might have to pay them a little bit if you have a budget for that, but they can help you with those social media posts. Spring school visits are still popular. I've heard from a lot of librarians that the schools are harder and harder to work with because their plates are loaded too. But I encourage you to do those spring school visits not long before school lets out. I'm also often the performer that libraries send in to get everybody excited about summer reading, and they come with me and then they talk about how to sign up, how to register, and all the wonderful things that we're going to be doing. They bring books that kids can check out that day. It's a wonderful way to get kids excited before school lets out. And then making connections in your community where those audiences already exist. So connecting with those summer school programs, those religious organizations, youth groups in the area, day camps that might be functioning in the summer, daycares, preschools, your parks and rec, senior centers, the places where people are already gathering, and make sure that they know about your program so that they can possibly bring them to your library, or maybe you can go and take a program to one of those community organizations. Here's a little statistic that I learned when I was learning more about marketing my own programs. People need to see an event 9 times before making a commitment to attend that event. Incredible, right? So they need to come across that event 9 times before they wake up and go, wait, this might be something that we want to go to. So just keep that in mind when you're doing your marketing and try and enlist some help to get all those marketing hits out there so that you have a successful numbers at your events, and people know about the wonderful work that you're doing. Okay. So we started this keynote with definitions about adventure and adventuresome, adventurous activities, adventurous people. So I would like to end our time together with a few quotes that I hope inspire you. The first one comes from Eleanor Roosevelt. The purpose of life, after all, is to live it, to taste experience to the utmost, to reach out eagerly and without fear for newer and richer experience. Beautiful. Second quote, and I hope I'm saying her name right, is from Debasish Ridha. She's a physician, philosopher, and author that you can Google. Life is a daring adventure towards an unknown future. Its beauty depends on how much you enjoy the journey. So we're going to try and enjoy this journey of summer reading this year. And finally, let us remember the words of the Hobbit Bilbo Baggins, who said, "It's a dangerous business, Frodo, going out your door. You step onto the road, and if you don't keep your feet, there's no knowing where you might be swept off to." So I want to end this keynote by saying this to you, reminding you, good programming is important. Simple is better, and community partners are key. So I hope you'll consider your particular unique situation in your library for programming. Keep it simple, don't burn yourself out, and know that those community partners are going to be key this summer, especially with our theme of adventure beginning at our library. And so I'd like to open this up now to any questions you might have, and I'm going to unshare so that I can maybe come back on. Should I, Donna, come back on in video? I'm afraid.
Either one is fine. Yeah, why don't you go ahead and join us via video and we'll see how your connection is. Thank
Sorry
you
about
so much, Jen. You should see all the hands and the hearts and the high fives, and everybody loved your presentation so far. We do have about 5 minutes for questions, and I have a couple of them for you. And if anyone else has a quick question, you can add it to the Q&A. First, we heard some great references to adventure research. So one of the questions we had is hopefully you can provide us with the links to those sources.
Okay,
so
I will
we
do
can
that. I can't do it right this minute, but I will make
absolutely,
sure
yeah.
I get them to you.
We'll
Absolutely.
include it with the flyers or the slides or something like that. That would
Okay.
be wonderful.
Mhm.
And then we had a question, and I see there's lots of great answers in the chat already,
Of
but
course.
do you have any ideas for teen programming with the adventure theme?
Oh my goodness, that could be another whole keynote, of course. So our teenagers, you know, as well as I do, that they come in waves into our libraries, and they're often a hard group to hold on to, unless you have a strong teen advisory committee. But you're going to want to survey those teens, find out what kind of adventures they want to have. A hiking club, geocaching, climbing walls, adventures in the community, paddling, water sports, adventures and mysteries. Adventure could be in anything, right? So they might be teens who want adventures in new art forms. So really survey those teens so that you find out what kind of adventures they want to have, and then make sure that you're trying to find ways that you can help serve them in that way. I hope that helps.
Yeah, that's great. And then the other really interesting question was posed about the length of summer programming. And some people think of summer programming or their summer program being when you actually track the reading, allow people to get incentives for tracking reading. So maybe you start that earlier and end that later versus the events and programs you hold and how long that takes it. Do you have any thoughts about coordinating those two aspects of summer programming?
So I think you'd have to be really clear in how you describe that. So if you want the reading to continue, and maybe you do have touch base with your patrons in August, but that the main trunk of your big summer reading programming happens in those 6 weeks. I find that in August, families are turning their attention into a different direction. School starts early, their attention is going towards getting ready for school. School sports start earlier every year. So those things are going to take some of your younger or teen patrons away from programming. But you could have the tracking be the entire summer and maybe end that mid-August or even late August. But please make sure that you communicate well to your patrons that that's how your summer reading program is going to work, that the programming is going to be from June 15th to August 1st, but we're going to be reading all summer long, and we're not going to be tallying and giving out prizes. And then maybe your final event, although I would caution this, but your final event might be a week after your last major program, or even later if you want to give those prizes out at that point. So I guess you're going to have to determine how you want to do that in terms of tracking for the summer. As long as you communicate well to your patrons how that's going to work, and you communicate it even more than 9 times, I think that they'll understand how you're going to do that.
Yes, yes, great answer. Thank you so much. We really want to give Jen a wonderful round of applause for a wonderful inspirational keynote. And I hope everyone is reading through all the chat ideas because there's tons of great ideas that Jen has inspired conversation around this. A reminder that we have a 30-minute break and our next session will be all about manual highlights. So I'm assuming we'll have many more great programming ideas shared during that session. And so that will start at 12:45 Eastern. 45 after the hour, wherever you may be. So if you need to sign off, you can exit the meeting and come back in, or you can just leave it running, but we hope to see you back in a half an hour. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you at the next session.